One of my favorite parts of the book of Numbers is the story of Balaam. There's King Balak, and he sees the Israelites coming, and there's this huge nation. They've heard about them. Everybody heard what happened to the Egyptians, what these Israelites God can do, and so they're scared of them. They're worried about them. And Balaam is a prophet, and Balak knows that when Balaam says stuff, it happens. It comes true. And Balaam knows the reason those things happen is because he gets those things from God. Balak just thinks it's about Balaam, and he can just say what he wants. He misunderstands where the power comes from. But Balak sends messengers to Balaam, says, "All right, these Israelites coming. I need somebody to come and curse them and protect. I need some protection against these people. So will you come and curse them?" And Balaam responds to this first group of men that come and says, "I can't." They come ask him. He goes, "I'll go ask God, but I can only say what God gives me to say. I can't. I don't tell God what to do. He tells me what to say." And so Balaam goes, asks God. Of course, God's not going to curse his own people as they move through the land. And that's what Balaam comes back and says. I can't curse these people. They're gods. And so I can't do it. Sends the men back. Well, Balak sends more men. I love it. It says, sent more important men this time. Apparently, this isn't an important enough thing. I don't send the best guys first. I send the B team. Now he sends some more important people and some more reward. Right? He offers Balaam more money. Because, see, Balak has this misunderstanding that that's what this is about. That if he just offers more money, if he just does something a little more, then he can get what he wants. And Balaam gives him the same answer, but says, he literally says, Balak could give me every bit of gold and silver he has in his palace. It doesn't make a difference. I can only say what God tells me to say. He says, I'll ask God. So he goes back and asks God, and God says, no, I'm not going to let you do that, but you can go with these men. So they go ahead. And there's a real fun story about Balaam and his donkey on the way there that I'll let you read in Numbers, because anytime there's a talking donkey, you should read that for yourself. But he gets to Balak finally. And Balak still doesn't understand. Like, he's still like, I sent for you all this time ago. Why haven't you, come faster and done what I asked? And Balaam repeats again, like, I don't just do whatever I want. And just because you ask me to curse these people doesn't mean I can't. I can only say what God gives me to say. See, Balak just completely does not understand the relationship here. He does not understand who God is. He lives in a culture where they did things to make their gods do certain things. They did things to appease their gods so the God would do this and the God would do that. They thought that they're basically, if I get the right combination, if I do the right thing, if I jump through the right hoops, then a certain thing will happen. And he assumes that this is how all the gods work, but this is not how the God works. It doesn't work that way. But he's still trying. And so he gets Balaam and he takes him out and he shows him the people they're looking at. So Balaam says, all right, well, make me 7 altars and we'll offer sacrifices and I'll ask God. So they do it. And Balaam comes back and instead of cursing these people, he blesses them. He blesses the Israelites. And Balak's like, dude, I brought you here to curse these people and you just blessed. You did the exact opposite. You'd think that would be the end for Balak, but no. He takes Balaam around somewhere else. Says, all right, well, let's just go get a different perspective. Let's go look at them from another spot. Let's find another place because that's another hoop we could jump through. Oh, we were in the wrong place. That's why it didn't work. Right? First I had to offer you enough. Oh, that's not how this works. Okay, well, we'll just go to the right place by staying in just the right position in the right spot. Then your God will do what I want, right? So they do it again. 7 altars. Goes before him again. Balaam comes back with this message from God. It blesses the people instead of cursing them. It blesses Israel. It can't curse them. Balak's had it then, but by then, God just starts speaking to Balaam more, and he delivers more messages. He just keeps blessing the people of Israel and keeps saying negative stuff about all these other nations, including Balak and his country. Here's the thing, is that sadly, we make the same mistake that Balak does. We think that there are certain hoops, that there's basically a magic formula, that if we just do this just right and stand in a certain way, and if we do certain things, that God will do what we want him to do. That's not how our God works. That's not how this relationship is built. That's not who our God is. If he was, he would cease to be God. That's not God. He doesn't do what we ask if we find the magic formula. He doesn't do just whatever we want. He calls us to follow him. He calls us to join in what he's doing. There was a popular bumper sticker years ago that's still around, I'm sure, but it said, God is my co-pilot. And I'm sure whoever made it was very well intentioned. But in recent years, I've seen a rebuttal to that one that I love. It says, if God is your co-pilot, you need to switch seats. Folks, God doesn't do what we want him to do. He doesn't follow our orders. He doesn't follow our lead. It's the other way around. We put our trust in him and follow him wherever he goes. We need to learn to be like Balaam, who, in this case, be like Balaam. As you'll see as you read through Numbers, Balaam isn't really all that awesome all the time. He has his own flaws. But when he tells Balak over and over again, I can only do and say what God tells me to do. I can't just make stuff up and he goes along with it. I'm just the messenger. Jesus says something very similar all the time when he's talking about his relationship with the Father. He's like, I only do what the Father tells me to do. I say the words he gives me to say. I do the things he brings me to do. He's just following the Father's will. That's what you and I are supposed to do too. It's not hoops to jump through. There's no magic formula so that we make God into our own personal genie. It's us following him and joining him in what he is already doing. And that's such a huge blessing and privilege for us to get to be a part of what he's doing. But remember to put it in the right order. We're joining God in his work, not just doing something and hoping he shows up to bless our work. It's all about him. Love you guys.